First of all, I'd like to present Dimitri from the OECD. You have a quite good track record on these issues. You have struggled with the ashes of the Iceland volcano and came here by the highway from Hamburg. A quite difficult task for you, but you arrived and we are happy and pleased to have you here. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Sitting in a car for 5 hours, you have plenty of time to think. And one thought that crossed my mind is why in Denmark, which leads the OECD in terms of broadband penetration, why do you not have high-speed fiber connections allowing me to come here via a telepresence facility which is interactive? Let me just start with another example. Maybe I'm going the wrong way here. Ah, there you go. Okay. Last autumn, and many of you will recall that in Europe we were concerned about having a pandemic for flu. And in the case of France, because some children had the flu, they closed some of the schools for a short period of time. The French were prepared in the sense they had pre-recorded lessons and provided them over the public TV channels. But fortunately for them, the schools reopened quickly. But if you had a long-term pandemic, how would you teach the children? How could you get interaction with the children? Clearly, having a television network is far from adequate. And one of the problems, of course, was that everybody doesn't have broadband. You do not have a universal access. So what if everybody did have broadband? You could have video presented to classes. It would be interactive. You could have local teachers teaching local children. You could have different facilities such as chat, voice, video interaction. Broadband can have a significant impact on education, a very positive impact on education, not only for children, but for vocational training, for continuous education, for adults. It gives children material at home when they're doing their homework, so there are significant benefits. And in general, when we look at broadband, we look at it as economists as a general-purpose technology which can allow significant efficiencies in our economies and in our societies, increase productivity, and in particular, allow services to become much smarter. I talked about education, but you can have smart transportation networks, and certainly these days when we look at pollution, when we're more concerned with having a greener economy, we're concerned with getting reducing CO2 footprints in the transportation sector. We can have smart electricity grids. And again, we're looking at efficiencies in electricity. Broadband can play a significant part. And in the health sector, particularly when you have growing health expenditures and an aging population, broadband is important. So why do we need fiber? This slide is the cover of a magazine called Popular Mechanics, which came out in 1950 in the States, and it tried to predict the future. It tried to look ahead 50 years. And you probably can't read the print at the back there, The first on the top, it says, you'll eat food from sawdust. Some of the prepackaged food isn't far from tasting like sawdust, but that sort of prediction didn't come into effect. At the bottom there, it says you'll shop by picture phone. And I think that prediction has come into effect. In fact, we've gone further than that. But it is extremely difficult to predict the future. And if we go back, if we go back to the early days of electricity, and in this slide you see average US residential consumption of electricity starting from 1950, going on to 1980. During that period, there's not only been a significant change in the volume of consumption of electricity, but in the type of application. Many applications which certainly in 1950 we never thought about. And we should look at broadband in the same way. It's changing, and and its consumption pattern will change extremely fast. You just have to look at the new electronic devices that have come out since 1980, and the slide only shows electronic devices which you and I have at home. I think you've only got to go into your kitchen, turn off the lights at night, and look at the glowing little pilot lights that you have. You probably don't even need to turn on the lights to find your way through the kitchen. But what about the office and the factory floor and in provision of services, all the electronic devices that have come out? Oops. Sorry. And what about this device? As we all know, we'll have to plug them in every evening when we go home, and the consumption effects on your network could be significant. So why fiber? Mainly because we can't predict the future, and we need a platform which provides us important economic and social benefits, but we need a platform which is future-proof. And we need a platform which we can easily upgrade to meet changing demands and capacities. And I've mentioned some high-definition telepresence, which I would have loved to have yesterday, telemedicine, remote surgery, real-time data backup. And what about the movement towards cloud computing, where many applications are actually storage of data, etc., is moving away from the office, moving away from the home onto the cloud. It's a different kind of cloud, by the way, than we're having today. One of the big bottlenecks is upload. We tend to look at capacity from the download perspective, and that is important. But many of these applications, and I mentioned the schools at the beginning, need upload capacity, and at the moment you have bottlenecks. And the slide, you can see the averaged advertised upload speeds by platform as of October 2009 across the OECD. And clearly when we look at fiber to the home upload capacity, it's significantly larger.